Hello and welcome to another episode of Take My Money, the podcast. And today, I know that this episode is super late because this movie came out days ago and I'm only now getting to review it because, well, I had plans to review it with a guest on last week and it didn't work out. They didn't ever call me for the review or anything, and I tried to get a replacement guest, but he wasn't able to do it, so I'm doing this solo because, let's face it, I have to review this movie because it's kind of required for me. This is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man, and I grew up with the character. I love the character. I love his villains gallery. I love pretty much anything about Spider-Man. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the Spider-Man movies. The Sam Raimi films, I admit, are stupid movies, but I still like all three of them. And the Mark Webb reboot, I think, is even superior because it actually does the characters true justice, sticking to them very well. It has great treatment, it has great acting, and great writing, and yeah, pretty much it's all great. And The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I know this is a very controversial movie at the moment because most critics are split on this. Some of them have really mixed reviews on this. I'm pretty sure this is going to be one of those movies that sparks an argument between the fans. Half of us are going to love it and half of us are going to bash it. I'm going to be on the more positive side because I actually love this movie. I know it has flaws, but I will get to them whenever I get to them. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the sequel to The Amazing Spider-Man. In this movie, Peter Parker lives his complicated life as Spider-Man, and things get even more complicated with his relationship with Gwen Stacy and the rise of his new villain, Electro. Plus, his old friend Harry Osborn returns while he is trying to figure out the mystery of his parents. And as you can tell, there is a lot in this movie. A lot that would concern most fans, but for me, I really think that they pulled it off well. I think that it did a great job. It did everything it had to do. I'm sure it made a few mistakes, but I'm able to live with them because I'm such a big Spider-Man fan. The acting is just great. I love Andrew Garfield's performance as Spider-Man. I see him as the definitive Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire, I only saw him as a guy in a Spider-Man costume. I never got the feel that he was Spider-Man. With Andrew Garfield, I can feel this guy is Spider-Man. I know he's Spider-Man. He does a great job. He blends with the character perfectly. Tobey Maguire was just some emo guy in a Spider-Man costume. Sorry if that offended anyone, but he was. Even before Spider-Man 3, he was emo. Andrew Garfield, just incredible. I loved his performance. And also, Gwen Stacy, played by Emma Stone. I really think that she's talented. She is a great character and great acted. She's oh my gosh, she's just so lovable. And yeah, there's something that really leads up to what's going to happen. There are a lot of hints throughout the movie, and it kind of makes you sad because, well, you love this character so much, and she really is a great character. Also, a lot of great performances in this movie. Sally Field did a great job as Aunt May. I know that she's not the traditional Aunt May with the white hair and stuff, but she's even better than that. She is a great Aunt May. I think she masters her performance well. She has these wonderful scenes with Peter, and it's just great to see them together. Another thing I should bring up is Dane DeHaan as Harry Osborn. I didn't really know who he was until he was announced for this role. I haven't seen his movies before, so this is my first time seeing him in a movie, and I think he did the character justice. Sorry, James Franco, I think you're great, but Dane DeHaan is a much better Harry Osborn. He has this nice feel to it that the character should have. He is this very villainous, sinister, rich guy, and James Franco, just the rich part, I didn't really like buy into the sinister factor with James Franco's Harry Osborn, but Dane DeHaan mastered it perfectly. This is the Harry Osborn that we deserved in film. Also, another thing I should add to the controversial casting of Jamie Foxx as Electro. I know Jamie Foxx is a great actor. What really worked with Electro was his theme mostly. That theme was awesome. It's the theme that played in the trailers, the Paranoia song. And like it keeps on getting me pumped every time I hear it. It's like every time Electro's on screen, that theme is playing and it's awesome. Like, and the character is pretty awesome too. I really like what they did to him. He does a good job. He has this awesome voice, the awesome theme. And Electro is pretty cool, but I still like the Lizard better. Another standout thing about this movie is the action scenes. They are just awesome. Like the action scenes were incredible. Like even the scenes like where Spider-Man is just swinging around, those are amazing, man. Like they're just so amazing. Like every time he swings around the city, I think that it is like well shot. It's well paced and like it's just perfect representation of Spider-Man's web swinging. Like sure, the same Raimi films like it would look cool visually in those films, but it doesn't really have that same excitement in like this movie. And Mark Webb has mastered the web slinging like very well, and I'm just lost for words on how incredible like those scenes look. Also, the action scenes they really bring to life Spider-Man's pure awesome into them. Yeah, it really shows how awesome Spider-Man is just by those action scenes and yeah, but the real big thing that I should talk about is the romance. Like, I was a bit worried about this romance, like, early on in the film. I thought that it was gonna be, like, stereotypical, but I actually loved this romance. I love the romance between Peter and Gwen. They were just, like, a perfect couple together. And Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone do a great job because they are a couple in real life. They know how to do this. They know how to pull it off, and they are just like amazing to watch. And it's just like so great for me to see them together. I really love seeing all those scenes with them together. It makes me want them to work things out and stay together. I want this couple to work. I want them to like be happy together. And of course, I have to talk about some spoilers too, because it's a superhero movie. You have to get into the spoilers like at some point. And so these are some pretty big spoilers. One of them is something that comic book fans would really know, and non-comic book fans would have at least heard of it. It's the death of Gwen Stacy, and it's like, yeah, the Green Goblin kills her in this movie, and the scene is just beautiful. Like I really love how Peter handles like the death scene. Like he spends 5 months without being Spider-Man, and it's just it's just so impactful. It's just you feel his pain. You like understand what he's going through right now. But there were some things that like I didn't really like about the movie that didn't really set well for me is that like for one the Green Goblin's action scene it was too short in there. It feels like the Green Goblin was just in there for the sake of killing Gwen Stacy off in the movie because no one else would have accepted Electro killing her. So like he was in the movie for like a few minutes and his fight scene was way too short and I was just pretty disappointed that this was all we saw of the Green Goblin in this movie. Like, I was really liking Dane DeHaan. I really liked all the build up, but I'm glad that they didn't kill the Green Goblin because well that would have sucked if he was just on for a few minutes and got killed. And also one thing that didn't really set well with me at all was like they saved the Rhino as the last villain of the movie, and I originally thought from all the trailers and promotionals that the Rhino would be like one of those bump in the road villains, like how he was in the Spider-Man 2 video game. Like he's just one villain that Spider-Man has a brief encounter with, defeats, and we never see him again for the rest of the movie. And well, we he was starting like that, but then like at the end of the movie he shows up as the Rhino and there's the cliffhanger for like the next movie. And it was the last shot of the trailer, too. I was like, what? They showed the last shot of the movie in the trailers, and why would you do that? I mean, we're not gonna know that that's the final shot of the movie whenever we see the trailers, and come on, man. That was just one thing that didn't really set well with me, was that they did that with the Rhino, and now I have to wait until The Amazing Spider-Man 3 to see him get defeated. And now on to my rating. I think The Amazing Spider-Man 2 has some flaws, but overall I think it's a great movie. I give it a 9 out of 10. I think that the movie is a great movie regardless of one or two flaws in it. So, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a definite own on like any disc, whether it be Blu-ray, DVD. If you see this in the store whenever it comes out on DVD and Blu-ray, buy it. Buy it. They deserve your money. And that was Take My Money. And hopefully for Godzilla, I do have a guest next time.